So this is going to be a bit of a different video to what I usually post on here. I'm just going to give a bit of a life update, how everything's going, how I'm feeling, and what my plans are for the future and for 2026. Last time I done a video like this was probably back in May or June when I was doing the pull-up challenge, and a lot has changed since then. Back then, I was literally all the way across the world in Australia, and now I'm back in sunny Ireland. So lots of life changes and lots of business changes, lots of changes in general. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm out on a walk, lovely Sunday morning. To be honest, this is where I come every Saturday or Sunday morning just to go for a walk. No earphones, no nothing, just let my mind do its thing, let my thoughts get processed, and yeah, sometimes I just completely daydream for the entire walk, and that's okay as well. I think having that time to daydream and be bored is something that's good for our brain and something I don't do enough of and I try to do more of. So yeah, this is my little time during the week to come and just think about everything that's happening. So just for context, for anyone who maybe is watching this for the first time, my name is Connor Oliver. I'm a strength and mobility coach. I do online coaching. I post on Instagram, I post on YouTube. And my main mission is just to help people get out of pain, unlock their ability to move freely again, and use that newfound physical freedom to unlock mental capacities that they didn't know were once possible. And that's inevitably what I done with my own journey. When I was in my teens, I dealt with a lot of mental health issues, and that led me to abuse weed on a very consistent basis for a number of years. And it was my fitness journey and my evolution of my physical capabilities that inevitably allowed me to see the bigger picture and to just say, this isn't for me anymore. That's basically what led me here doing this. And over a year ago, I moved to Australia, and although that was an amazing experience and a lot of extremely valuable lessons, although it was one of the toughest periods of my life because I was now embarking on this new venture, becoming a strength and mobility coach, building an online business, because previously I worked as a plumber and this was completely new, and I kind of just went all in. And yeah, it was definitely one of the hardest periods of my life. Like a lot of uncertainties, a lot of loneliness in the journey, being across the world with not a lot of people around me. But it was like the biggest period of growth I'd say I've ever experienced. It came a time where I felt like I just listened to my gut and I felt like my time there was done and I had to move home. Although I knew that moving home was going to come with its own challenges, I felt like that was the next step for me in order to take everything I'm doing to the next level. And I don't know about you, but when I pray on a daily basis and I develop my relationship with God, or whatever that may mean to you, I really trust my gut instinct. I listen to my intuition, and every time I listen to it, it pays off. So I felt like this time was no different. And this time around, for me, listening to my intuition was moving home to fully focus on my own online coaching, my social media, my YouTube, and a lot more stuff that I'm planning on doing in 2026 that we'll get into. And for anyone who has ever done anything like this, where you try build something from scratch, you will understand that it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Some people find success in their first few months, but it might take some other people years to find success. And for me, I soon realized that if I wanted instant gratification with all of this, that I wasn't gonna get it, because building your own personal online business and brand doesn't go hand in hand with instant gratification. And I learned that the hard way. But with that being said,
I knew when I got into all of this that it was not going to be a quick thing. It was going to be a 5 to 10 year journey and probably a lifetime journey. And it's funny because ever since I not necessarily started with like online business and building my social media, but ever since I started on my self-improvement journey, every year has been like the hardest year of my life so far. But there's a funny paradox there because it's also been the best year of my life so far. And I find myself saying that literally every year, every new year. Yeah, this year there was a lot of changes, moving back home, going full in with my online business, and I felt like I've grown heaps this year. I feel like I'm a completely different person than I was when the year started, and I personally feel like 2026 is going to be a monumental year for me. I feel like my life's going to change. I can't quite put words on how, but my gut instinct tells me that. Every day I feel it and I see it, so I just have to keep continuing to put in the work on a daily basis. And that's where the hardship comes, because staying consistent is not the easy part. But something I say to my clients, you cannot just create consistency, because if you're just trying to stay consistent, you're always gonna fall off. But in order to stay consistent, you need to have complete faith in yourself and in the process, because if you don't have faith, when times get tough, you're gonna fall off, and every time you fall off, that's more steps backwards and less steps closer to where you need to go. And for me personally, developing faith has been a massive journey. I wouldn't say I'm a big religious person, but I believe that there's something bigger than me. God, the universe, whatever you call it. I feel like I perform at my best when I spend time to listen to that voice that gives me the guidance that I need. And maybe that is literally just my subconscious or my inner self or whatever it may be telling me. But if you want to stay consistent with anything, you need to have that faith. And for me personally, like, having that faith has allowed me to keep consistent during periods in life where it's not so easy. Since I've moved home, it's been one of the loneliest chapters of my adult life, and I'm okay with it because I know that this is just a chapter. A lot of people that were close to me have now moved abroad. A lot of people who are also close to me just have different interests to me, so I find myself doing this a lot on the weekends, just out on walks. This is a normal part of life. I've heard Alex Hormozy talk about the lonely chapter and how when you're trying to build something and you're trying to grow in lots of different areas, you eventually develop different interests and values to a lot of people around you. That's okay, that's a part of the journey. Like, you can't expect people to change just because you changed. And I say that not claiming that I'm better than anyone, because I know I'm most certainly not better than anyone. It's a lesson, and it's something you need to be aware of when you're trying to do something different. Another big lesson I learned when I started this whole journey is realizing that the people who are closest to you aren't going to support you the way you would have hoped. And initially I really let that get under my skin because I was so excited about everything I was doing, but those people showed the complete opposite reaction. And sometimes even through little sly comments out there, I've been called an attention seeker. I've been told I need to get a real job. You know, I've been asked multiple times what my plan B is. And as I said, I don't think those people have bad intentions with their words. But I think if you're super excited about your life and about what you're doing, sometimes that can trigger people, and inevitably it's just people's own insecurities that get the better of them. And I'm sure I have done that to people at some stage. I'm sure there's someone out there that thinks the exact same thing, but I'm the villain in that story. But I just realised that that's a part of the journey and there's no bad intentions behind it, so don't let it get to you. On a different note, what are my plans for 2026? What's my plans for the future? So over the last year, but especially since I moved home, I've been working a lot, and that's basically all my life has been dealing and helping my current clients, proactively trying to get new clients, trying to build my social medias by making content and posting stories and everything else that goes with that. So I've been doing a lot of 12, 13, 14 hour days, and I feel it taking its toll on my body and my mind. So my plan is to keep working up until Christmas and then take some rest, rethink everything that's going on, plan for the new year, and then plan on how to execute. But my goals for 2026 are pretty simple. It's just to improve everything I'm currently doing. Obviously, making my current clients' experience better is my number one priority, because they're the people who pay me, and that's my number one responsibility. Then, as well as that, it's getting more people in, and that's the content and that's the marketing. Being honest, that's the hard part. That's the part that doesn't really come natural to me. I was never a social media person. Developing into what I'm doing now was a massive challenge for me. I'm an introverted person by nature, so it definitely doesn't come natural. However, in the new year, I'm gonna take it to the next level. A lot more of this kind of content will be made, because as much as I think I can help people with mobility and strength training, I feel like sharing my story and sharing my thoughts can also help a lot more people in the grand scheme of things, because I think at the end of the day, people want to feel like they can relate to you. And a lot of the stuff I post that are fitness related, people probably struggle to relate to because I'm doing some crazy shit. However, my story, my thoughts are pretty normal, and a lot of people definitely feel the same, and I know that for sure. So I could literally stand here for 10 minutes just listening to the sound of this river. But another big goal I have for 2026 is doing more in-person stuff, whether that's workshops, whether it's actually getting back in and doing one-to-one in-person coaching, or creating a group of guys who go out and train together, who share similar ideas, who share similar mindset, and we just meet up once a month, once a week, whatever it may be, and we just fucking work hard and plan for the future and talk about our goals and vision, because creating that environment is key for success. And I feel like a lot of people don't have that because it's not easy to create. I feel like, especially in Ireland, that internal feeling, but not a lot of people verbalize it. Therefore, they don't create that connection with other guys. And the topic of conversation is usually pretty simple and pretty surface level. So I haven't really thought about how I'm going to do that. That's something I'm definitely thinking about, and it's something I'm thinking about how I can do. This is one of the main reasons why I'm doing so much stuff on social media, because the more I can grow my channels, like for me it's not a vanity thing, but the more eyeballs I have, the more people I can reach. Therefore, the more people I can help, and the more people that can help me, because by no means am I a guru and have all the answers. I'm trying to figure all of this out as much as the next man is. So that's why I want to create that environment of guys who can come together and just kill it. And you may be thinking, why do I think I'm capable of helping people mentally as well as physically? And one, I feel like I've learned a lot of lessons from my own experiences. I've managed to process a lot of stuff pretty well, and I've came up with a lot of answers. Also, throughout my coaching journey of helping people with physical problems, in many instances it's developed into me helping them with mental and spiritual problems. And by no means am I qualified to help people with those issues, but people seek it and I enjoy doing it. So there's something there that I have, and I haven't been able to figure out what it is, but it's something I need to explore more and help as many people as possible that I can. So I'm gonna make some bold predictions for 2026, because you know what they say, you gotta speak it into existence in order for it to happen. I see myself at the end of 2026 having over 100,000 followers across multiple different platforms. Again, this is not a vanity thing for me, but I feel like the more people I can reach, the more people I can help. I also see myself 10xing my income, which again isn't a hungry or greed thing, but the more resources I have, the more I can travel, the more people I can help, and the more I can think clearly, because the less I'm thinking about money. And this goes without saying, but I'm gonna be in the best physical shape that I've ever been in. That happens anyway, year after year, but that's a given. Also, something I'm gonna do that I think is gonna define 2026 is I'm gonna do some sort of physical event that's gonna force me to grow, because I'm gonna push my body to the absolute limits. For example, last year I done 1,000 pull-ups in 4 hours, and for some people that might seem really crazy, but in hindsight I could have done a lot more. I could have pushed myself a lot more, and I had the intentions this year of doing max amount of pull-ups in 24 hours, but I end up suffering with a minor little injury, plus moving home. There was just a lot of factors that I decided not to force myself to do it. I decided not to do it just because I had too much stuff on the injury. I didn't want to aggravate it further, and I decided if I was going to do that pull-up event, I wanted to give it my absolute all to try break 4,000 reps. So maybe that's what I will do, but I'm not 100% sure. However, before the new year ends, I am going to be doing 100,000 steps in one day, or as quick as I can do it. So I've no doubt that that's still going to be a challenge, and I'm going to document the entire process on here. And yeah, I'm going to be sharing a lot of my thoughts, and make sure to tune in. And the reason I like doing these extreme events is to push myself to my absolute limits, physically and mentally, and also spiritually. I want to show the world, show myself, but more importantly, show God what I'm capable of. I believe when you do that, there's going to be a lot of good things thrown your way. And I also believe that's how you should live life, not being extreme every day, but you should finish every day saying to yourself, I'm happy with the effort I put in today. With that being said, not every day is going to be perfect, but I feel like if you can be real with yourself and say, given today's circumstances, I'm happy with the effort I put in, your life's going to change, and you're going to find yourself becoming a lot more happy and content.
I completely forgot to record the outro for that video, but in all honesty, those videos are really therapeutic for me, because I was just rambling and just speaking my mind, and I kind of forgot what I even talked about until I was editing the video. So if you like this kind of content, leave a comment below, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments or reach out on Instagram, flexi_strength, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Catch you on the next one.